begin today's service. Now, I know that we just had a presidential election this week, and I'm not going to go into all of the details of that, but I do know that there has been a profound heaviness that has been permeating so many people that I would be remiss in not mentioning that. But I also want us to know that this is a community we all belong in. This is a community that refuses to acquiesce to anything that feels like darkness or heaviness. This is a community where love and that light that is you will forever, forever be expressed and ignited. Because now, even more than ever, the goodness, the kindness, and the love that we are needs to be extended. And I always have to say, no matter what is going on around us that might look different, we still are individual lights of the infinite. That's who we are. We are the infinite, here in expression, in life. So please, if you need, if anyone ever needs prayer, on the back of your bulletin is the name of all of our ministers and our practitioners, and they will pray with you. They will pray with you. So please call them up if necessary. So today's topic, which is perfect, is about prayer. It's about the power of prayer. And so we are going to look at being mindful in our lives with the power of prayer today. And then next week we have Dana Smith, our practitioner, very dynamic, who is going to be giving the talk. And then for Thanksgiving, right before Thanksgiving, we're going to talk about possessing a grateful presence for everything, for everything. And all of this is for the intent to step into a life that is already established for us, of peace, because we are the peacekeepers, of light, because we are the light bearers, and of the infinite possibilities that exist at all times, because that is the truth of our being. So no matter, as I said before, no matter what, this is turning out for many people, for many reasons, to be a difficult year. So we're going to begin our time each week with a mindful exercise to bring us back to center, to return us to the place of peace within us, to spiritual truth, which is we are all one. That is the ultimate spiritual truth. There is only one presence. So I'd like us all to go within and get in touch with something that is going right for you in your life. Something that's going right. Despite what we might focus on as being wrong. So what is going right? And I want you to take a couple of deep breaths and think about what's going right on the material, financial level of my life. You have clothes on your back, food in your belly, and if not, we have fellowship downstairs with plenty of food that'll take care of that. And being grateful for the means by how you got here. Even if you walked, you still have the ability to walk. And then on a physical level, even if something might not be working in your body exactly as you would like, be mindful of the many parts of our physicality that are all working. They are working, and they will always continue to work for us until we don't need these physical forms anymore. On an emotional level, what is going right? know that you are always fully supported, because the universe always supports us in every way, shape, and form, and you got to prove it to yourself. I've proved it to myself, and I'm telling you, these spiritual truths work. We can always depend on the infallible loving presence of this universe. And on a spiritual level, breathe in the presence and power of the divine energy that we call God, because it's there not only for us, but as us. We are that God being expressing on this planet Earth. And so I want you to bring your focus back to the room. And we talk about prayer. Prayer is a spiritual practice and a staple of many ministers' sermons. I know I've talked about prayer many, many times, and never gets old because it's so important. But I'm always seeking ways to deepen into the realization of what I am praying for, as, and with. And the spiritual understanding and the practices that go along with the kind of prayer we do here. We keep deepening our consciousness. And I chose to talk about prayer today because a life built on prayer is like a life built on a strong foundation. The foundation that Jesus spoke of, the master teacher, when he said at Matthew 7:23 and 24, "Whoever hears these words of mine, these sayings of mine, and follows them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house upon a rock. And the rains descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house. Yet it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock," on a strong foundation. Circumstances always happen in life. They're always going to throw us through a loop. It's life. It's why we're here. This is a learning planet, and we're always going to be having some circumstances we love and some that we do not like at all. But having that strong foundation is key to keeping our peace of mind. It is so key, and I cannot emphasize that enough. And today, I want to establish the kind of foundation that is really so useful for us. In the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, tells us, and he writes this on 152, prayer is essential, not for the salvation of the soul, for the soul is never lost, but for the conscious well-being of the soul that does not understand itself. There is a vitality in our communion with the infinite, which is productive and of the highest good. As fire warms the body, as food strengthens us, as sunshine raises our spirits, there is a subtle transfusion of some invisible force in such communion, weaving itself into the essence of our own mentalities. This conscious commingling of our thought with spirit is essential to the well-being of every part of us. So the more we get ourselves centered, the more we meditate, and the more we pray, in however way you pray, the more grounded and solid is our faith when we need it. And I want you to know that I believe in every kind of prayer, No prayer is eliminated. Prayer is the conscious belief of the person praying. And I know in religious science we teach a specific type of prayer, which we will get into in a minute. But I'm going to go out on a limb, not really a limb, and say that all prayer is valid. It is all valid. And there have been scientific studies done in the medical arena, and a lot more scientists are really, especially quantum science physicists, are really getting into that whole consciousness and the power of prayer to prove that it heals. All kinds of prayer, remember that. So what are some types of prayer? We have the prayer of petition. Many of us were, or maybe still are, Christians or Jewish, Judeo background, and it was a prayer of petition. Oh dear God, I remember doing it as a young girl. Oh dear God, I'll be so good if you let this happen and this happen and this happen. Petitioning. That we don't do that, but there are two prayers in particular that are so powerful, and they are prayers of petition, because petition means duality. God is here and I am here. We're not united as one, which is what we believe. So one of the many that many of us have learned in our religious upbringings, the prayer of petitioning, asking an external God, perhaps even begging and bargaining. Well, we don't teach that. I'd like to read two prayers of petition that are so beautiful and so powerful, and they really do work. I've seen them work. First one is the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to know the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I realize there is no begging in there or bargaining, but it still is a prayer of a God outside of us to make something happen. And yet that prayer has provided incredible power and strength to so many who work the 12-step program. That prayer has saved their lives. I've seen it, witnessed it in my own family. That prayer is powerful. And another version of that prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the person I cannot change, the courage to change the person I can, and the wisdom to know that that person is me. And then we have the prayer of St. Francis, one of my favorites, which I want to read to us. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying to self that we are born of eternal life. Those two prayers are extremely powerful prayers. And I know that in my life, as I said, I have done what seems like petitioning prayers. Like, dear God, please restore my strength. There's nothing wrong with that. Please restore my peace. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes we can't go to what we're going to talk about, affirmative prayer and spiritual mind treatment. And those prayers, real quick little statements like, Dear God, let me be the light in the world, are very, very powerful. And I'm not advocating to teach that kind of prayer as a regular practice. We can evolve. We always evolve. We're always evolving. We can't go backwards. I refuse to even believe we go backwards. I don't care what's going on this planet, in this country. We are not going backwards because we refuse to go backwards. We are going forward. And in our evolution of prayer, we are going forward, we're going deeper. And if it's the best we can do, then do it, however it is. So with the prayer of gratitude, always with a grateful heart. I love the Yiddish saying, if we thank God for the good things, there wouldn't be time to weep over the bad. Gotthold Lessing, a German writer from the 18th century, said, a single grateful thought toward heaven is the most perfect prayer. And when we talk about heaven, we're talking about heaven here on earth within us. Ernest Holmes tells us, in everything give thanks. An attitude of gratitude is most salutary and bespeaks the realization that we are now in heaven. So there's this story of a great religious leader who heard of a holy man who prayed prayers of thanksgiving ceaselessly all day long. The man lived on an island far away, but the religious leader decided to visit him. When he arrived, he found a poor, simple fisherman. And true to what the religious leader had heard, the man was constantly saying prayers of gratitude. The leader, knowing of a more correct way to pray, decided to teach the man, who listened patiently, and then repeated the words that the leader had taught him. And finally, the man humbly thanked the leader, and the leader got into his boat, and he was sailing away to return home. The religious leader was just thinking to himself, what a fine service he had done, teaching this ignorant fellow how to pray correctly. When he turned and looked at the island, he had a look of astonishment on his face, because there, walking on the water, he saw the fisherman approaching the boat. And when he got within hearing distance, the man shouted to the religious leader, "Excuse me, sir, it seems that I have forgotten some of your words. Could you instruct me again?" Well, the religious leader was dumbfounded, but finally his voice called back, No, forget what I taught you. Just keep praying the way you have been praying, because it works. If you can walk on water, your prayer works. That's what I have to say about that. And then we have affirmative prayer, which is the type of prayer I believe I referred to a moment ago. It is for achieving a consciousness of unity within ourselves and our perfect relationship with this infinite power and its limitless life and substance and intelligence. And when we say substance, we're talking about this field of infinite potential that I will refer to all the time going forward, because it is it's science proving metaphysics. So it's quantum physics, and the experiments are there, and it's proving what Ernest Holmes was teaching. And to me, that is like so beautiful. It's so beautiful and powerful. So and you heard Reverend Sue Locke did an affirmative prayer at the beginning of service. We have a technique, 5 steps, and then we let the consciousness of the person fill in those steps with what is coming through them, because that is Spirit expressing. It's always expressing through us. It has to. So, this is the kind of prayer that we go so deep into in foundations class that forms that rock on which we can stand and know that all things are possible, no matter what. So the 5 steps are recognition. What's recognition? It's recognizing there's a power for good that is always in operation. And then unification, and I am a part of that. I unify. I'm not a part of it. I unify with that God self. And then realization. I claim my good. I claim it is happening right here and right now. And then thanksgiving, because we give thanks. We give thanks for all the good that's in our life, in every moment. And release, when we let go of the word, the prayer, into the power of divine law that makes it so. That makes it so. We have an acronym, RURTR. Are you ready to receive? It helps us remember those 5 steps, which are incredibly powerful. Incredibly. The religious science form of affirmative prayer is called spiritual mind treatment. So you might hear people say, yeah, I'm going to treat for that. It means they're going to affirmatively pray for it. Spiritual mind treatment is the New Thought religious science form of affirmative prayer, and perhaps the name spiritual mind treatment conjures up some mysterious kind of idea in your mind, like what are they going to do with my mind with a treatment? What kind of a thing is that? When I first heard that, when I was in foundations, I didn't even know we were going to learn about prayer. But I heard spiritual mind treatment, and I swear, I just jumping up and down in joy, and I didn't know why. We're going to learn how to pray affirmatively? So it was a real process where I took the Our Father, the Hail Mary, and I would just switch a word here, deepen into a concept there, until it just formed into really learning how to pray affirmatively. That all the good we desire is already present and waiting for us. We often use spiritual mind treatment for things or experiences, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there is more to it than that. There's always more. There's always more. In fact, Ernest Holmes says in his textbook, if we need $1, then we should pray for $1. But there's so much more. There's so much more. That's why we like to end with this or something better. Because, like I say, we come up with the what's, what we want, what we desire, and we let the universe fill in the how, because it's much better than we can plan. So much better. In fact, we pray many times to God to bring us what we need. And yet, we are like the man standing in a deep, clear, cold stream of fresh water, begging someone for something to drink, when all he has to do is bend down and drink as much as he wants. That's like us. We want our consciousness to evolve. We were always looking outside of ourselves to fulfill the inside. And we're in this field, as I said, of infinite potential. We're there already. It's us. It's not only around us, it's within us. It's always there. We never have to go looking for it. We need to quiet our minds and go within and connect with it, align with it. The spiritual teacher, Joel Goldsmith, great writer and teacher, wrote this about prayer. You begin to see that God cannot give and God cannot withhold. that is up to us. Everything we need is already present. It's already present, but we have to know that, claim that, align with that, and it's there for us. Nobody's going to give it to us. You shut yourself off from the grace of God. But through prayer, you can be reunited with that giving grace of the divine. It will be knocking and opening a greater light for you to move into, to merge and to be. Greater spiritual wisdom, greater discernment. It's all there for us. The greatest purpose of prayer is to bring our conscious awareness into alignment with the presence of all that is, with the presence of the divine. It is to help us look at life from an elevated viewpoint and to see our life as God would see it, as perfect. Khalil Gibran in the Prophets said, "What is prayer but an expansion of yourself into the living ether?" And ether is consciousness. It's that substance that's all around us, in us, as us. It is that energy field. And I believe that this is the highest form of prayer. To really know that we are united with an infinite power and infinite good. And I like to have a motto. I know Steve back there loves this. For 2025, I've been doing this for quite a while, and I really was so guided with this. 2025, keep kindness alive. Let's keep kindness alive. And again, no matter what. For the year coming up, we have to be kind. We don't have to be, but boy, it's sure better than being hateful. It's sure better than being a lot of other things, to be kind. What this world needs is respect and kindness. And where can we start? We can start within ourselves only. That is the only place there is. So right now, I'm going to speak a prayer. I'm going to speak a prayer. Why not? You can never have too many prayers. This is the power and presence of God to be ignited within each and every one of us. And so we take that breath and we center ourselves in this pristine moment, this moment of infinite good that is always present, this field of limitless potential, where each one is guided in such a depth, such a crystal clear awareness. For in the divine there is nothing but that crystal clear awareness, aware of itself, aware of its own nature, the nature of good, the nature of love, the infinite mind that knows all, that is all. And that mind, that nature, that perfection and good and love is within all of its creations. And we are creations of this infinite energy. Therefore, there is only one energy. And we stay true to our belief, our faith in the power of this presence, always supporting and loving us. One source of all good. Many channels, but one source. And so I know that each one here is unified in this infinite field. It's unified in this good. It's unified in this love and kindness and respect. That each one here is moving to their higher good all of the time. Never going backward, never going backward. And I claim that anyone that might feel off kilter, that might feel a heaviness and the darkness that seems to permeate our lives, is absolutely not true. It's an illusion. It is not the truth of who we are. There is no darkness. There is no heaviness in the mind of the divine. There is none. There is only light. And so therefore, we are creations of this light. And I declare right here and right now, we must allow that light to fill us, to guide us, and to lead us forward in our lives so that we do not forget the important things, the important qualities, the integrity, the courage, the wisdom, and the love that we are. I give thanks for speaking these words because I know they are true. I give thanks for this foundation of prayer, for this joyful gathering spiritual center. I give thanks for all that is and all that will unfold. I give thanks for life itself because I know and am convinced that life is kindness, life is love, and life is peace, no matter what. And so it is.
And so it is.